Lunch. See if anybody wants to join me for lunch today. I'm having jambalaya today made with noodles. My version of jambalaya. Because I'm not a fan of okra. It's a great day in California. Earlier it was windy, but now it's not so windy, which is good. If you've been watching my last few times that I've gone live, I'm talking about the yellow pollen that's in the air in California. It's a lot better today, but oh my gosh, yesterday was the worst. I was doing a live stream and my nose started running. Oh, it was so bad. But today's better. I come more prepared today. I have a box of tissues over there. So if you see me going off screen, it's probably to blow my nose. Hello, hello. I think about this a lot. Like, what random superpower would I want if I can get a superpower? Hello, hello. Just eating lunch. Oh, thank you, thank you. Let's see. From another mother. You know what I was watching yesterday? I was watching a Joe Rogan episode, right? And he was talking about autistic kids that can read minds and have like telekinesis or whatever. And it got me thinking of like, you know, like X-Men and like mutants and superpowers and stuff. And I'm like, that's crazy that in real life, if that was to happen in real life, they were all artistic. Like you have to be on the spectrum to have superpowers. That's insane. Hello, hello. You speak Spanish? No, I do not speak Spanish. Some people think that I look extra brown, if you know what I'm saying. But no, I do not speak Spanish. Wait, why is that funny? Oh, I don't know. It just seems the whole superpower thing. I think it's funny because like, you know, when you're thinking about superpowers, right? You're thinking about X-Men and like these jack dudes or whatever. And on that episode, they were talking about on Joe Rogan. They were talking about superpowers and how these autistic kids can read minds, and like they were doing tests about like they would write words and then the kids would guess it and they'd get it right like most of the time. I just thought it was very interesting. Like it's almost the way that they were describing it. Um, seems like my Minority Report. Do you remember Minority Report? Like they had the three like special people that were in the tanks, and they could, you know, see the future. The way that they were describing it, it seemed like that. But these were artistic kids that were on the spectrum, and they're nonverbal, so they can't talk. But apparently they could read minds. And I just think that that's like so interesting. When you're growing up, you're thinking about mutants and superpowers, and this is true. You're thinking these jacked, hot people, right? But it turns out you need to be on the spectrum to have superpowers. I mean, you think about like, for example, like Elon, right? He's considered super smart, but he's on the spectrum. Yeah, see, you get it, right? Like is that the superpower? Is that the goal? Like I think I saw someone talking about 5G towers and how it gets in your brain. Is that what they're trying to do? They're trying to beam the superpowers into us. Okay, I've said this a gajillion times. Elon is the best example of being able to fail fail upwards. Like no matter what he does, it seems like it just goes well. Like he's the classic example of like being terrible, but at the same time being great at the right time. I don't like it's insane. I wish I had that power. Like I wish I had the Elon power of being able to fail upwards. Like like if you see any of those like most recent conferences that he's been on, like those meetings that he has and he does those speeches, if he wasn't Elon, I feel like it doesn't go well. Like he it's crazy. Um, but yeah, I was thinking, right? So, what superpower would you want? I was thinking about that as I was watching those telekinesis people. Um, I'm trying to think like, what is a superpower that'd be super useful? That's I think I like the, you know, in here, you watch Heroes. I think the stopping time power is the best one. That's the one I would like. Yeah. What's your favorite, dude? Come on. The dog thing, really? It's like me saying, I've said this before, right? It's like me seeing someone and be like, "Yo, what's your favorite flavor of cow balls?" You know? Like, come on. Can you be a You know, I thought about the moderator thing, right? And I kind of like the chat going crazy. Like, let it be free. You guys want to be crazy? We'll all be crazy. But thanks for watching. As I say all the time, um, all I eat is noodles. Okay, here's the thing. We bought a giant pack of noodles the other day, and I'm trying to finish it all. I don't want to waste it. So this is the last time I'm eating noodles for lunch for now. The next time I'll cook something else. And I cooked this big pot of jambalaya earlier, and I'm trying to finish that. Oh, okay. Reversing time again until it goes right. But the issue is that you go back, right? And then you kind of keep. Why don't you get stuck? I think that's the part that I don't like about the reversing time. Like I thought about that. Like, there's that great episode of like Rick and Morty where he has the save. Like you could save and then go back to your save point because like and then what happens? You mess up the save time and you just like are stuck in that moment from over and over again. Or if you watch like Arcane, if you remember the last scene, spoiler alert, where Echo was like stuck in that split second, you know, and he's just like stuck there. Like that's the issue I think with going controlling time, or at least doing the reverse time thing. You can get, I feel like you get stuck at a certain point. Oh, dude, that sounds good though. Kimchi with fried egg. Maybe that's what I'm gonna make later. That sounds good. Mm. Okay, yes. Last time I'm eating noodles on here. Definitely, I hear the message. I think last time I ate ramen, so this is like the third time I ate noodles. Let's see, what else? What's another cool power to have? Wait, if you can go back in time and you had to go back to 8 years old, would you? Okay, I thought about that too. It depends if you can keep your memories, right? If do you go back and lose all your memories? That would suck. But if you go back and keep some, that would be awesome. Like you go back, you can win the lotto, you can be yes. You can like okay, you go back, you tell off all your teachers, right? But then you mess up the timeline for yourself down the road, right? You because that's the problem with the time travel. You have that, you know, like the Back to the Future effect where you start messing with things, and next thing you know, you're like telling off your teachers, but like your brain, like your brain gets dumber because you're telling off your teachers you're not learning anything. Hmm. Oh yeah, buying the Bitcoin. I think I've told this story before. Like Bitcoin is just one of those things where it's like hindsight. Like when it got to like like back then when we first started off, it was like $100, and I'm like, $100, that's expensive. And then it got to $200, and you're like, oh, $200. It used to be $80. I'm not doing that. And then, it keeps on going. Okay, as a rule, you have to lose your memory, but I'll tattoo. Okay, you would tattoo yourself with all their stuff, but then it'll be like it'll be like Prison Break then, right? Like you have to, but you don't have any of your memories, right? Yeah, you're a tatted up 8-year old, and you're trying to figure out because like remember Prison Break, he had all these codes on there, but you're 8, right? You're like trying to figure out what does this mean. You have like a heart with a cross on there, and you're like, what does this mean? Tatted up 8-year old. That's so funny. Like imagine you're going to school, right? And you got like face tattoos and it has like lotto numbers on your face, and you're like, what do these numbers mean? Buy Bitcoin. All right. Buy Bitcoin, stay away from Stacy. That's funny too. Like, what's a Bitcoin? Okay, at 8, I'm trying to remember at 8, what was I doing? I don't know. At 8, I remember now. Okay, at 8, I was, if you guys remember Pogs, I don't know if you guys are in that generation, but I remember Pogs was a big thing when I was 8. And oh man, you go out there and it was like legalized kid gambling. You would find kids, and I would just find the kid that you just know doesn't know how to play Pogs, and they had money, and they would have all the Pogs, but they would just lose them all the time. And you just be like, hey, I'll play you, and you bust out your giant metal slammer and just whoosha, and take everything, and he'll be crying, and then you got all these Pogs, and you think you made some money, but then the next thing you know, Pogs are useless, and they go down in value, and you actually lose out. Ooh, Pokemon cards. That's a good one too. But like, okay, you're 8, right? And you're trying to convince your parents to buy Pokemon cards, and you want to get like you have to store it for like 20 plus years. At what point do you start like opening the Pokemon like cases? But I like invent electricity when you're 8. Okay. Okay, when I see the cigarettes, I'm thinking about. I remember one time my parents they went to the store, but they left me in the car. And I don't know why they left me in the car, but they left me in the car for a long time. And I remember my dad came out real quick, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, can I just get something to do in here, or a snack or something?" So he ran to the store real quick. Oh, thank you for the sub. And he bought me the cigarette candy gum. Like I know they don't make those anymore. It kind of shows how old I am, but like I remember like getting those, and I was like 8 or so, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? And I remember like, oh, that's what it is, and you have to play. Oh, I definitely burned my finger playing with that little lighter thing that they had in there, and from that point on, I was always very scared of that. I don't. Do new cars even have that anymore? I remember the lighter thing because people don't smoke anymore. Don't fly anywhere on 9/11. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh man, speaking of 9/11, I remember when I was working at the finance company, we had a new HR guy, and he's from New York. I'm in California, if you guys don't know. And he's from New York. And I remember he said he was there at 9/11, and he said that he the the impact from the plane caused the shock wave that threw him into a car. So he was just walking on the street or something, and kazoom, plane hits the tower, or the tower collapsed. I don't remember. This is a long time ago that he told this story, and he kind of flew into a car and jacked up his back, and then he got on pain pills, right? And I'm fresh out of college. This is one of my first few jobs, and there's this guy. And I guess now if I saw him, I would know that he's all pilled up, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, he's all pilled up. He's trying to tell us what to do, and he's all crazy. And one day we had a company like party or something, and he started going wild. He was drinking everything. I guess he said like he never, like, the pain from his back from hitting the car or whatever hurt so much that he just never went away. And so anyways, to cut the story short, one day I hop into work, he's not there. The next day we come, he's still not there. So apparently because of our party function or whatever, he started popping double pills or something, I don't know. But he went on a bender, and we didn't hear back from him for maybe 2 weeks or so, and he ends up in Vegas. This is what we saw, because his family filed a missing person. And yeah, he ends up in Vegas, and his liver is shot. And he basically, what happened is he had a Breaking Bad moment where he found out that his liver was going, and he just wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. That's crazy. He just like disappeared, and it ended up on the news because he was missing for a long time, and his like wife was looking for him. Oh, that's crazy. Anyways, let's go back to sorry, if you guys don't know, uh you guys talk, I talk, you guys say something, and it just sparks memories, and I just go on random tangents. Can you please play some Youngblood extra? No, I can't play any music. I'm in my garage, and let's see. Let's go back to the superpowers though. So it seems like everyone likes the time power. That's always the best one. The worst one that some people think about, I don't think people consider, is the super strength. Like, on the last chat, someone was saying like the power of 100 men, and I was telling them, if you had the power of 100 men, whenever you do something, you would have to use like 1/10 of your power, because you would be breaking everything. And they brought up like, and I was like, imagine yourself in the bedroom, right? And you have the power of 100 men. One pump, and that your partner, whatever you're into, is splattering on the wall. If you had the power of 100 men, like imagine Superman, and he's trying to get some action, right? And he has the power of 100 men. He like, that's crazy. You think about how many people a Superman must have, like how many girls he must have like just ended with. Like he just, you know, like no one can, you can't handle Superman, okay? The Epstein list is getting released today. Is that real? I thought I thought they weren't gonna release that because Mr. Trump is like on the list and he's all over that. I thought that's why they didn't want to release it because you see those pictures with him and then I heard that Epstein said that him and Trump were best friends. So really I don't think that's getting released today. There's too much to that. No way. No way, no way, no way. I'm sure those only release the names they want to see. Exactly. There's no way that they're releasing that list. There's too many people in there. Like, that's insane. Um, it, yeah, that's one of those things where I just don't get. Like, you're so rich and powerful. Why do you need to do all that? That's insane. But I guess maybe it's just a way to flex how powerful you are. I don't know. It's one of those things where they say like, once you have power, it kind of it corrupts you. In a way, I feel like, I mean, if you want, you can circle back to Elon. I feel like in a way, Elon went through that a little bit. Like, if you remember the early days, Elon was beloved, until more recently he took this turn and people are starting to hate on him a lot. And so I feel like it's ever since he became the richest man. Once he got to that point, you could see that his stock just went down a lot. The nuts. Okay. No, no. Okay. Yes, there's that. His Nazi turn, but like, it started before then. It definitely started before. I feel like if you go back, it's probably around the time he overtook Bezos. I call Bezos the Mr. Midlife Crisis because it feels like he's always in a midlife crisis. Like when you go through that midlife crisis and you have to like buy something flashy, he's always in that midlife crisis. Where am I from? I'm from Vietnam and I am in California right now. And as I was saying earlier, the pollen is out. And so if you see me sniffling, it's the sign. My sinuses are crazy. Oh, dude, I saw this funny one where they were saying when he was doing his heart goes out to you, there's so many different ways that he could have done that, but he had to do it that way. And yeah, that's insane. Like, what's funny is that when you were in school, at what point yes, twice, dude. At what point were you in like history class that you think to yourself like, you know what? The Nazis were not that bad. Like, because like you watch the movies, right? You were in history class. The whole time you're like, these are the bad guys. And then at some point they were just misunderstood. Like, yeah, at what point, I guess, in your life, like what decisions did you make? Maybe you need that time reversal power, right, to go back and fix that. But like, at what point in your life that you're like watching? Let's say you're watching Saving Private Ryan, right? And remember, there's that scene. If you guys hadn't seen Saving Private Ryan, go watch it. Awesome movie. There's that scene where the Nazi guy comes up the stairs and he gets in the fight with that guy, and then the knife comes out, and they're like they're stabbing each other. Sorry, spoiler. If you, dude, this is a 30-plus-year-old movie or 30-plus-year-old movie. You haven't seen it by now. Come on. And the guy's like, there's that like geeky guy that was like such a wimp the whole movie, and then the guy puts the knife in him and he's like slow, and he's just slowly takes, he slowly puts it in there, and the guy like dies. So at what point that you're watching that and you're going, you know what, that guy is misunderstood. Like, uh, that's where I'm going with this. It's uh, like you're growing up and you're like, you know what? They're just misunderstood. My heart goes out to you. You know, dude. There's so many ways he could have done that. By the way, like he could have done it that way, the Korean way. You know, like this with the hearts. You know, he could have done like up. You know, but he didn't. Let's see. Yeah, I like the time travel one. That's still the best. The strength one is really bad. The super speed one's actually really good. If you're as fast as Quicksilver, that's really good. I feel like. But I guess the issue with the super speed is like if you watch the boys, you know how he's like there's the A train. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but you know what I'm talking about. The guy that runs real fast in the boys. Like he hits people and they explode. So you're gonna be doing that. Yes, A train, right? So that's like the super speed is really cool, except you're gonna be running into things all the time. Ah. And if you're still here, thank you so much. As I said many times, as you're scrolling through, you guys could be looking at hottie bodies on the internet, but you choose to spend your time with me. Thank you very much. And oh yes, that is true. The Flash can go so fast, he can go back in time, which in a way makes sense. Right? You're going so fast, time goes backwards. You're going so fast, you can go through walls. That's really cool too. Unless you're going so fast and you decide to stop at the wrong moment and you're inside a wall. That's how you die. Right? You go stop inside a wall. Or you go so fast. Like, okay, here's the issue about the Flash going back in time that I don't like is that realistically he shouldn't be able to control how far he goes back. It should be like more random. So imagine you're the Flash, you're going and you go back in time. And then you end up back in the time that you're 8. And then you're like, crap. And he can't go forward I don't think it works that he goes forward in time, right? If you can only go back by going with speed, how do you go forward? So you're just constantly getting stuck back in time. So eventually you go back to, I don't know, dinosaur age. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I try to do this every day, and I talk about whatever's on the news or whatever's on my mind or whatever you guys bring up. Oh, I know what's been on my mind a lot lately. Yesterday, sorry, I'm gonna blow my nose for quick. As I said, sinuses. Yesterday Trump was talking about that you can buy citizenship now for $5 million, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm probably gonna look into that a little more because I'm like $5 million, and so I started looking through and I found a whole bunch of websites, a website where other countries that you can buy citizenship with, and it's like for a fraction of the price you can buy citizenship into like Spain, Italy, Canada, and yeah, Spain. There's like those kind of countries, and I thought that was pretty interesting. It's only like 500,000 or something. If you, I know 500,000 sounds like a lot, but if you're in that, if you're already looking around and you're like $5 million to come to America, or 500,000, and you could be Italian, right? Why was yesterday's Insta feed crazy? Were they talking about the citizenship thing? Because uh, yeah, here's my thing about this. America already has this program. It's, I think in the press conference they were talking about it. The HB5 visa program is almost the same. You essentially, the HB5 visa, you invest, I think it's like 800,000 or $1 million into the U.S. like economy, and whatever your investment does has to create 10, at least 10 jobs, 10 permanent jobs, full-time jobs for 2 years, right? So it's not that much different, except Trump's golden visa program is $5 million directly to the government. Okay. I used to believe that knowing the future would be a great superpower. But you don't have the means to do anything. Yeah, I agree. Okay, here's the problem I see about the seeing into the future, right? Where you don't know how far, or unless you can control how far you see into the future. But like, let's say you see the moment you the moment you die, right? And you're like 5. You're like, great. And I feel like it traumatizes you because you're like, oh my gosh, it was Stacy. Stacy is gonna take me out. So you start staying away from Stacy, and then also you gotta think about how much of it do you see? Kind of like you remember Minority Report, where you only see a little bit. Like, how much of it do you see, and do you just see some random person? You're like, oh no, Stacy, please no. And so from the rest of your life, from the time you're 5, you just start staying away from Stacy. Exactly. Stay away from Stacy. like like what do you see in the of the future? Like, how much of it do you control? Like, let's say if I close my eyes right now and I see like 5 seconds to the future. 5 seconds in the future, I'm still talking to you guys. So that's so useless. Okay, imagine if you can predict the next move and your body knows how to react if you're good enough. Okay. Okay, that's a good one. But here's my issue with that, okay? Are you currently in a fight with somebody? Like, so let's say I'm currently fighting you right now, right? And some guy's about to punch. And during that time that he's punching, you see in the future his next punch, right? The next punch. But you're so busy thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see he's gonna throw a left after he jabs, he's gonna cross, right? You're so busy thinking about the cross, the jab hits you, and then the cross hits you because that's what happens in the future, right? You see yourself getting hit by the cross, and you're trying to avoid it, but no, what happened was the jab hit you because you're thinking about the cross, and now the cross hits you, you know, and you're like, oh, and then like 2 seconds later, you're like, as you're going back, you're like, he's gonna uppercut me. Let me move. And as you're moving, you're that's the uppercut hits you, like I think that's the issue with like seeing the future is that the future happens. Okay, like somehow I loop. Okay, okay, somehow I loop. But I guess that goes back to what we were talking about before, like going back in time, right? You have to have a save point, and you go back, and maybe you can redo it. That would be the only way that would work, right? But seeing to the future, in this scenario, in a fight, you're like, let's say the guy's got a gun, right? And he shoots, and you see into the future, he's shooting dead center, right? And you're like, he's gonna hit me dead center. So you're like, I'm gonna start to move. But like, what happens if you start to move and he just moves with you? Yeah. I think to see the future is that's a really hard one because if you I guess if it works if you can see the day ahead. Like let's say you go to sleep and your dream is the next day. Oh, that's perfect. That's like Groundhog's Day. That would be best. I think that's my favorite way to do that. Where you can do it one day over and over and over again. Like that would be the best. If you see Groundhog's Day, growing up, that was my favorite movie, and I always remember it. I wish I had that power, but be able to stop it. What is this channel about? It's about me doing random things. It's really random, to be honest. um, I think if I had to sum up this channel, I would say it's just the ridiculousness of the world, right? Um, yeah, I just feel like things are just ridiculous, and either joke about it or have an honest talk about it. That's really what it is. So yeah, if you guys want to talk about something more real, I would love to talk about something real, like life advice. That's always fun for me too. Um, okay. Biggest ways, there's similar games face to face is that you can't strip away information without someone already did to you. Trying to think. Military simulator games. Are you talking like so ambushes hiding you get someone? Okay. So if all ambushes, hiding spots after you get someone, they're all meaningless. I guess, right? Because you can see where they are. Are you talking about like when after someone, let's say you're playing Call of Duty and someone like gets you and you see from their point of view and you're like, "Oh, there they are." So the next round, you're going to like go find them where they are. Unless but okay, like in war someone dies, information is not relied, but in game you can't do that, you just respawn. Okay, are you saying that's your power? Like you want to be able to just respawn with that information? Oh, that's a good one. That's actually a really good power too. To just go back. Like, but okay, are you responding as a baby? Like, you live your whole life and then you die and you go all the way back to baby and you come back out and like that would be wild. Like, imagine if you're a baby, right, and you had the power of your past life, and you know, like, oh, immort is like, I guess that would be like that would be almost like immortality in a way. You would just constantly like somehow living multiple realities to yourself. That kind of reminds me of that movie everything what is it? It's like everything all the time everywhere. Every You know what I mean? You know that movie? Like everything. Oh my gosh. It's blanking because the name's so weird to me. It's like everything all the time everywhere, right? You know what I'm talking about? Where you can tap into different like realities of yourself. Let's say in one life you're a cook, but in another life you decide to be a martial artist or whatever, and you can pool the knowledge from that other life that you lived. Because I guess that's something I really think about all the time. Like, you know how like the multiverse idea of like every decision you make kind of diverts a different way, and they're all happening at the same time, but you just don't know it. Like, let's say today I decide to go left. Yes, okay, everything, everywhere, all at once, right? Right. And I think about all the time how if you're on the street and you decide to go left, then in an alternate universe you would have made a right, and how that would affect your life. And that there's a theory where that both options actually happened, and you just don't know it. And then how your life kind of spreads out. And if you made that decision, you would have done this, and you made that decision, this would happen. If you went to go buy lotto tickets this day, you would have won. If you didn't buy lotto tickets this day, you would have lost or could have won. Like, I think about that all the time. And that would be a super badass power where you can um, pull from the different alternate realities. But yeah, that's definitely true though about going back and having information that you go back and you start changing things, and it doesn't turn out the way that you think it might, or you have unforeseen consequences to your actions. But that would be really awesome to just like go live through life and then start over again, and and decide, what, I'm gonna, instead of doing all that, I'm going to go become a fisherman and go get lobsters, and then see how your life goes as the lobster king. That sounds great. I think so far that's one of my favorite powers. Kind of like Groundhog's Day. But when I watched Groundhog's Day when I was a kid, I'm telling you guys, I wanted that power so bad, and I think about it all the time. Like, imagine like you had finals when you're in school, and you're just like, let me redo that whole day, and I'm gonna get all the answers correct. But having be at least have the ability to stop it whenever you want, though. I think that's very important. Because like you don't want to be stuck like how he was in that movie, where he was stuck there for like 30 something plus years doing the same thing. I think someone said that if you actually added up all the time that he spent to learn all those skills, it took him like 200 years. Like, for example, like for him to play piano. Okay, but the numbers are only choice you might not fail to win, and you go back to his number. Okay, that's true. But in a way, like, aren't those numbers preordained to be that day? Right? It's kind of like, Back to the Future. Not sure how random events work when, but is it really random when those numbers were supposed to show up on those days? It's like Back to the Future, right? Where, do you remember the part where Biff gets the sports almanac, whatever, where it has the outcomes of all the sports, and he went back and he started gambling and he built a giant empire. It's kind of like that. Like, aren't those teams supposed to win, right? Those teams are supposed to win. And as long as he individually didn't affect it, those teams would have won at those same times. So is that really random? But I guess if you really, really think about it, if he bet on, let's just say, the Lakers to win, right? And he would have won a bunch of money, and then the next day he bets on something. But at some point, maybe he wants to visit one of the games. And if he visited the game, maybe he interacted with one of the players, and that interaction cost that player 5 seconds of their life. And that 5 seconds, maybe he misses one basket because he was a little off because he met you, right? So maybe I guess the first few games he would have won, but eventually he would have lost. But yeah, I don't think anything's random. At least at first, if you went back, if you got the lotto numbers and you went back, um, you would have won the first time that you played, I believe. If you try it again, no, I don't think you'll win. But the first time, so make sure you play when it's like a gajillion dollars. But that's all. I guess that's all you need, right? I saw this funny thing. It was speaking of the lotto. I saw this funny thing. It said like, okay, if you win the lotto, right, you get taxed on it, right? And if you have a buddy, if you give the money to your friend, so you get taxed on it, and if you give your money to your friend, he gets taxed on the money that you give him. So that's double tax, right? And then if he decides to buy a car with that money, it gets taxed again. Or yeah, if he buys a car with it, he's gonna get taxed again, right? And then when that car's car dealer buys like shoes or whatever with the money that he got from you buying the car, he gets taxed, right? And so it's like a giant like quadruple down effect of taxes that go down just from winning the lotto. And I thought that was really interesting that I never thought of before. Let's see. Oh man, we're really stuck on this time travel thing. Is that the power to have? Ooh. Okay, imagine like you saw your whole family get murdered. You go back, spend time with all the training since you can change that much. But since you changed so much of all that training, okay, what is that's very true. That's very true. Since you yeah, like I think that's something a lot of people don't think about when they do the time travel. It's like every little change messes up something. The the best if you like the time travel stuff, the best show or movie that does time travel is actually Dark on Netflix. If you guys want to watch that, it's really good. Um, it's got the best like no loose ends. They thought of everything about time travel if you're really into it. Like but it's it's like a Norwegian show though, so I recommend you watch it subbed. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, dubbed, not subbed, because there's no way for you to follow the story with it being subbed. There's no way because you're reading and you're trying to watch what's going on. It's impossible. But if you're really into time travel, that is the best show to watch. It's 3 seasons. They must have mapped it out from season 1 to season 3. And so everything connects together. Like I hate it when the shows, how they do one season and they they don't they like do one season but they don't have an idea for season 2 or 3 or whatever, and they just kind of make it up as they go and they kind of jack up the whole story, right? um Dark is the best one where they actually thought of it whole through. The fact that you keep coming back to mission is a huge change in timeline because you don't try to. Okay. That's. I don't know. Can I speak? No, I cannot speak Spanish. Okay, it's impossible for me. Language, and it's English. That's crazy. Like it can't. Like my brain doesn't work that way. Like it's so hard for me to like if you speak Spanish, I understand what you're talking about. You speak Chinese, I understand. You speak Vietnamese, like I understand, but me speaking back is impossible. I just can't. I don't know why. Where am I from originally? I'm born and raised in California, USA, but my family's from Vietnam, if that's the question. Hello, hello. Being able to speak every language, ooh, that would be awesome. Like, I feel like you can get so much done if you can speak every language. Ooh, I wonder what job you would have though. If you can speak every language, I guess you could be like a professional deal maker. Like, that's a thing. Or you could be a professional translator. I saw a job posting for that where they need help with AI, but like different languages. If you can speak every language, I guess you can make a gajillion dollars. Right now in California, it is around, I don't have the temperature thing anywhere, but it feels around like 80s, 80s or so. It's around 80s. It's sunny, windy. Almost feels like fire weather, to be honest. Well, speaking of fires, I learned something interesting the other day. Yeah, so you get invaded by aliens, you can definitely talk to them. I learned something interesting the other day. My friend was talking to me, and she works in construction. She's like a engineer, and she was saying that the number one cause of the fires is not the embers going onto your roof, right? That's what we were told. Like the embers fly on your roof and it lights it up. And so I was like, okay. Because I always remember people just going around and hosing down the roofs. But she said the number one cause is actually the embers. If you have AC or vents outside your house, is actually the embers flying in to the vent, right? And lighting up the insulation that's in your roof. That's the cause. And when it does that, you cannot stop it because the insulation on the inside is super flammable. It's if you ever seen it, it's like cotton, right? And so that is number one like cause of the fires. Is the embers going into the vents in your house, not the embers landing on your roof. Because I was like, why don't they just make the rooftops out of something like unflammable, flame retarded or something? And she's like, most of the roof stuff is, but when it gets in there, boom. Well, yeah, no, I'm saying yes, it's the lack of rain, but if the fires start going, what lights up your house is the ember going into the vent. So I'm saying if you ever in that scenario, and me personally, living out here my whole life, I've lived through three fires. One fire was maybe I remember I could see it from the window of my house and it was coming down the hill. And that was the closest fire that I had. And I remember all my neighbors on their roofs wetting it, you know, and a few other fires. But yeah, so I'm saying if you're still here, you want to stop your house from burning down and it's windy day and embers are going out, look around your house. If you see vents, try to block the vents so the embers don't go in there. Or maybe wet the vents. Maybe hopefully you know, just just helping you guys out there. Something so. You know what's crazy? Yeah, you guys are not in California. We have a fire season every year, like literally every year. And yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing where we can't barely buy fire insurance now. And if you're in other parts, like the insurance is like crazy. Like in Florida, it's hard to get insurance now. Like it's not just a California thing. And I saw somewhere where the insurance companies nationwide, they're running out of money because it's costing them a lot more now with to pay out insurance claims that they cannot keep up anymore. I think it's like they lose like 3 cents or something for every dollar that they take in, something crazy like that. But having a house on fire is like such a Hollywood thing where I'm from. Well, to be honest, their houses most likely will come back maybe better. I don't know. Like I talked about this a few times where in countries that develop later, their infrastructure is actually better than America's currently is because all of America's like buildings or whatnot are built like 20s, 30s, 50s. Most of the houses and stuff are built in the 50s and stuff like roads and everything, 50s, and they're just old, outdated stuff, right? And if you go to like China or all these other newer developing countries, all their stuff looks super high tech because it was built more recently. And yeah, like last time I went to China, it looked crazy, like crazy modern. It feels like you're in a completely different planet if you're like really pay attention to how they built things. Like out here in California, we still have power lines everywhere, and I remember like over there, they don't have power lines on top anymore. Like they're all their newer cities, all the power lines are on the bottom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the developing countries, they know now not to do that, and they just do it a different way compared to how it is here, where nothing gets fixed until it gets broken because it's cheaper that way. Hmm. I believe the material places are built. Okay. Ooh, your place. Wait, where you live, all the houses are still made of bricks and cement? Ooh. I'm trying to think like modern construction wise, I think most houses here in California are made of like stucco. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I totally agree. Like the newer cities, like Las Vegas and all stuff, like their houses are more modern. They have like fire safety. But yeah, no, not here. I think nothing gets fixed until it gets like broken. The insurance company said this. So at least what I mean is the power companies did a report. They said that for them to fix all the power lines, it would cost them like multiple hundreds of billions or whatever. And so it's cheaper for them to just have it get burnt or destroyed, and then you know, they fix it. It's just cheaper. But anyways, I got to go. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I try to stream at the same time every day, and we'll try to come up with different topics to talk about. But I swear every single time we'll end up on something crazy. But thank you so much. As I say all the time, you guys could be scrolling through, looking at hottie bodies on the internet, but you choose to spend time with me. That's awesome. I do get jealous of the girls online where they can literally just stare into the camera and just like do nothing, and people just hang out and just watch them do nothing, and I have to be out here and try to be interesting. But thank you so much.